Are you able to see? Are you able to see the screen which I have shared? Yeah. Okay. So in the last class, we have seen about the Google service providers, in which where we have covered about the user interface of EMC. And today we'll talk about the Google platform. So, in which where we talk about Google Cloud Platform, and it is also basically used for both what we can call it as three services, the basic three services, which is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So basically, the Google provides many number of services there without going for this. So apart from that, App Engine, Cloud Brand, Cloud Connect, Cloud Platform, and moreover, those are the reliable and more secure. And however, the services which are scalable, the services which are offered by the Google Cloud Platform is scalable. What is that scalable? As I talked to you, the scalable is nothing but you can increase and decrease at any point of the time, right? So thereby, where we can say the Google Cloud Platform, and what it is going to be supported for the number of services. I'll open with Google Cloud Platform after completion of the class and before 10 to 15 minutes of the closing of the session. What are all the services? Like as we have seen with the last class about AWS, now we'll see with the today's class about the Google Cloud platforms. Okay, it supports for many number of cloud services like virtual machine, block storage, MapReduce, Bigtable, then NoSQL, big data analytics, then machine learning, some kind of the data sets which are being uploaded already, and where you can use those data sets and then you can work out for the rest. So here we talk about REST API. REST stands for Representational State Transfer. So that API is going to be used here for designing of the architectural Google Cloud services. So especially Google Cloud Storage is used to store the data and access the data under the Google Cloud platform. But here it is being used with the help of REST API, REST, Representational State Transfer. So is an architecture and it is consisting with the components of the distributed system. So what are the components which can be communicated and coordinated? I mean to say that communicated and coordinated with the number of constraints, thereby it is being used with the Google. Because when you use a number of hardware devices and softwares, sometimes it may not be possible to coordinate and sync with the other systems. So therefore, REST API is going to work for the number of components which are being connected and in such a way that they can be coordinated. So what does it happen here and how it is going to be communicated and coordinated? So in a distributed environment, the components and the connectors with the data elements which are being connected through this particular distributed environment. Because the service which is going to be combining with the performance of the hardware and software, and then as I told you that there is a scalability with the Google Cloud Platform services. So how it is going to be majorly used for these kind of scenario. So because of that reason, it has been talking to the REST API, which will enable us to make it easy to communicate and coordinate with the other applications. And certainly, when you talk about the Google Cloud Storage, you may get some kind of doubt thereby whether the data is safe and secure or not. The data is safe and secure, moreover reliable. In such a scenario where you may see that this kind of the data is or data storage is good at cloud platform, because as we are using with the Gmail services, so probably you might have already having an idea about those particular things. So therefore, the tools which are used here with the Google Cloud Storage, majorly with the developer console and Google Storage utilities. So these are the two different tools which can be used to access and to store the data into the Google Cloud Storage. So one is Google Developer Console is looking like a web user interface, and it's a type of application where you can store the simply data on a particular. And a Google Cloud storage system which can be used to store data as well for the managing the data. Thereby where you can make use of this particular application, which will be used very easy here to access the data and so on. Then next tool which will be here, it is GSUtil, and GSUtil is Google Storage utility. Is written in Python. That application is majorly used to access the Google Cloud Storage from the command line. Command line and so there are, you remember that any cloud platform can be accessed, or any kind of platform of the applications can be accessed through web interface and as well as command line interface. So here in the web interface, which can be called as Google Developer Console, and in command line interface, which is called as a GSUT. So I will just to share with you that Google Cloud Platform. So the next service which you are talking about, Google Cloud Connect. Google Cloud Connect is a feature or a facility or a web service from the Google Cloud Platform, and which is going to be integrated with the what I can call it as a local application to the cloud application, which is an API, application programming interface. So you can connect directly with the Microsoft Office in that particular scenario. So after installing this API or SDK, so you can access it directly with the cloud platform applications, by which where you can save and you can retrieve, you can access the documents, you can access the sheets and so on. All those things which will be connected through with Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so which is assigns each file a unique URL. That means if you are storing with, like as I told you, as I shown you with AWS, AWS is being shown with what I can call it as shown with file storage. After getting that, then you can display that as a public URL. So that means any particular data which you are talking about cloud storage, it will have its own unique URL, and through that where you can access directly with that particular one, with that particular file can be opened or can read or can write or can modify something like. Then you wanted to upload or you wanted to download or you wanted to read or you wanted to go for making many number of copies, and what kind of the infrastructure which you wanted to manage, you can manage across that particular Google Cloud Connect, and it gives a chance to use it to choose which setup of changes to keep and which setup of the changes can drop. So multiple copies. Let us say that I have a copy of one particular document for multiple times. Let us say 3 times. But the file system which is having with the Google Cloud Platform, that is called a GFS. Like if you use Windows file system, that is NTFS. NTFS is the file system which we will use it there. And second, if you can talk about DAS, DAS is you can talk about file allocation table, FAT. Windows is NTFS. Like if you use any distributed systems, we have two different file systems. One is Google file system and second is SDFs. So HDFS is Hadoop distributed file system. So what is this file system and how it is going to be taken out the data? Any file system, if you talk about cloud platform, it will accept you have a 64 MB of file size. That means a page size. Page size is 64 or 128, even up to 256 or 512 also it is going. So the base level is 64. So it is going up to even 1 GB of page space also for advanced configuration of virtual machines if you can choose. So by this, you are being allowed to take up any kind of the data. But in this particular case, Google File System, which is going to be used to retrieve the data for what is the latest version of the document that is going to be keeping, and the remaining are going to be archived. Okay, that is what the usage of Google Cloud Connect. Then other service which is offered from the Google Cloud is Google Cloud Printer, which extends the printer's function. Print means which extends the printer. Any device which is connected to the internet. So to use this service, the user need to have a free Google profile or a particular website which is going to be talking about Google Cloud Printer. A cloud-ready printer or a printer which has been connected to the computer by which where we can make use of this particular service. So assuming that the printer which is connected to the Google Cloud, which is through internet, that means without internet where you cannot access with your this printer this service, though you are connected. So it should have internet connection, paper, ink, print job, and so on to the but so the printer can be shared among all the people who are being using to make to print that particular document. So therefore, what you use here, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, which uses here with a service called Google Cloud Print. So that will be enabled for the number of users for the shared printer, but it should be connected to an internet. Okay, so it allows the users to take the print, and it may be incorporated with the Google Cloud Print to take notes to see that whether is there any standard approach to print the cloud job or print any particular document or not. Like in a standalone printer, once if all the things are being settled, then you can take a standard print a standard print, and that will enable us to take the print of the printer. So likewise also here where we can make use of this particular functionality by that. Then another service which is offered here with the Google App Engine. Google App Engine I mean to say that you can install or you can make use of a machine, that is virtual machine, and you are going to be making use to regulate the traffic which is going on through this particular infrastructure. So therefore, App Engine lets the user advance the implementation of the Google infrastructure. This application is easy to build and easy to scale as a traffic and a data storage resource. It means whenever it is required to uh, take the pathway from one user to the other user, or if you wanted to retrieve any kind of data which is already stored, or if you wanted to put the data onto the cloud storage, you can be free from the traffic, and it will allow you to make the pathway to free, and then you can upload your application, or you can upload your data onto the server from the local system. So you can make use of any particular technologies like the app engine you may be using with Java virtual machine. You wanted to use a feature called Python interpreter. You can use Python environment, or you wanted to use any PHP, or you wanted to use any SQL queries from the local, or you wanted to make use of any open source like MySQL and so. You can make use of anything can be applied there by the cloud. So here one particular figure which is showing you to connect with the Google Cloud services. So what is this? It is going to be integrating with all the capabilities of supported computing services and client capabilities. So this diagram is going to be showing you with the data what you are using here with the people. The first client server or client application, thereby where it can make use to understand with what is the Google gadgets or Google apps what we have and how it is going to be majorly used. Mashup editor is basically an editor and which will be used here to make use of the distributed systems capabilities. Thereby where you are able to check with that issues whether is there any usage with the existing also allows to use the different open source platforms and frameworks by that way you can integrate them by making use of this. So that is the usage of mashups. The Google toolkit is being used for the number of services which are offered by the Google Cloud platforms. Then in the middle, you cloud computing services. The cloud computing services which may be used here with the services which are offered by the Google Cloud platform, where engine, cloud management, brain, then virtual machine, then SQL, then machine learning, etc., etc., etc. Then the supporting services are also there with the Google Cloud Computing. So adaptively, you can make use of GA to uh, if you wanted to use these services, a few of them are offered with free of cost, and a few of them are being offered with pay as you go. So is a free of cost with some kind of delimitations, and you may use the CPU bandwidth and as well with the RAM power with the minimum working payloads there. So if you wanted to use again and again, and after setting up of this, so you can make use, but sometimes it may be charged with recurring. Recurring means you wanted to reuse once again the same kind of commission, then it may be recurred there. But so like we have many number of services which are offered. Then then I'll stop here and I'll show you with Google Cloud Platform. Then we'll talk about remaining other services. So I'm just making to open the Google Cloud Platform engine. Please bear with me. I'll share with are you willing? I think it is taking some time to open. The last class we had with a very good internet. Okay, let me talk on AWS and then we'll talk about that thing by the time it will open. So the next service is Amazon Web Services. So Amazon Web Services are actually I shown with the last class with the demo also, is a collection of remote computing services, which are also called as web services. Okay, so we have seen about computing services, in which where we have seen about EC2, Elastic Computing Cloud, and we have also shown with a few of the other storage mechanisms and so. So Amazon S3, as we have worked out, Amazon S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. That's what we have seen in the last class. So now I'll be able to talk about this uh, some services which are offered in this particular context. Okay, so if you are having any kind of the EC2, which is a computing service, and SQS is a simple queue service, whereas S3 is a simple storage service. So which we can make use of these particular services for the any kind of the integration of the other services which are offered by the AWS. So as an example, if you are making use for this S3, this S3 can be used with the other combinational services like simple database or you wanted to use any queue services or cloud front service or any other MySQL databases or RDS, Amazon RDS, relational databases. We have many more other services which can be supported here with this. That means you wanted to access any kind of the data information through Amazon Web Services that can be offered here by this. So that you are able to make use of those particular services very easily with the help of with the help of this particular service. Uh, I'm just looking into the things. I just wanted to add the other scenarios. Okay. So the upper layer part of the AWS can be used for the number of computational services or in the form of machine images, and that will be used for the instances, and then where you can access those particular services thereby. So Elastic Computing Cloud EC2 is a service which is used here to work for the virtual machine, and this is being provided in the form of Amazon machine images. That is, any particular service which is offered by the Amazon Web Services is getting through access to the client machine in the form of Amazon machine images. A primary interface is a graphical user interface, and you can go for even management console like for the command line interface that can be also offered here and the other scenarios where you can offer with the infrastructure by the virtual machines that you can access with the other APIs, and some of the other libraries, resources which can be used here to access with the other services with help of Java, PHP, Python, Ruby, Windows, .NET frameworks, and etc. Because of the infrastructure is virtualized, where the Amazon Web Services using of his own virtualizer called Zen hypervisor, XEN Zen. XEN is a Zen hypervisor. Okay, I told you in the beginning of the class that any cloud service provider which may be offered with their own services, or they may be using of the open source available like VMware, like okay. So the infrastructure in AWS is being virtualized by Zen hypervisor, and which can be allowed us to access with the different instances. So one is with low level. Uh, Low level is nothing but standard instances. And the second category, which you can offer by the micro instances. And third category is offered with the high memory instances. What does the use for these three instances here? The standard instances, which will be suitable for most of the day-to-day applications here. Most of the day-to-day applications, like what we use for the general programming or general explanation or general exploration of the cloud platform, where we select with the standard instances. And if you are making use for the micro instances, and which will be suitable for the low throughput applications, and high memory instances, which will be suitable for the high throughput applications, right? Then you may have with the high CPU instances and HPC instances. These are the two other categories where you can have the instances with large computational power. So HPC, high performance computing applications, if you want to run any kind of application through cluster based or cluster computing instances, where I can apply for the high performance computing, like GPUs, TPUs, and so on. Graphical processor or gigabit processor, we can say that GPU, and terabit processing units. So for those particular scenarios where we apply for the cluster compute. Okay, so these instances can be used for even extend the services for the virtual private clouds, VPCs, virtual private cloud, and which can be used here with a particular encryption methodology. That means, as I told you just now, Amazon Web Services, which are offered with all the applications at the client level with Amazon machine images. And if you are clicking on the Amazon machine image, it will ask you to do with the RSA algorithm of encryption of the installation or setting up your configuration. What is this RSA algorithm encryption methodology here is, you will be given a private key and a public key. And if both the keys are being used, I mean to say that a key pair is used, then only your Amazon machine image is going to be setting up of your local environment to complete the task here. So the managing of these key pairs and important features of the Amazon Web Services is to be based upon signature-based protocols. That means all instances or all images, what it is being provided, it should be authenticated. That signature protocol or signature-based protocol is done through with the key pair or pair of keys. One is private key and second is public key. So that is a major advantage for providing you the secured and safe services that are taken from the cloud platform to your local server, because it should not get affected on the local database data. So not only the virtual private cloud, but also it can be used for the load balancing. Load balancing is a service which is automatically distribute and balance the incoming traffic. And the fault tolerance, automatic scaling can be performed by configuring of load balancing service by which you are not going to be failing of any kind of the instance what it is being used for routing of your incoming traffic. Okay, so it can be a combination of the simple storage service, or I may be using of another storage service called as a block storage, which is called as a elastic block storage, and is a type of persistence storage. So it is not only using of the simple storage, but also simple queue service and etc. So that's what we told about the other scenarios. So I don't know why it is not opening the Google platform, Google Cloud. So let me try for one more time. Okay, so it's now opened. So I'll just make use of that particular thing. Okay, I just stop here and we'll talk about that particular thing. I'm sharing a tab, Google Cloud Console. Okay, I hope you are able to see the window which I am shared now. This is first project, or you wanted to do with any kind of the projects, you can do it. Okay, so this is a dashboard when you open with your Google Cloud Platform after registering with free tier, because I told you with you can access with the free tier, and as well as you can access with the business application or enterprise application. Okay, so the activity of the dashboard is going to be shown here. What is the first project and first project ID? Then what kind of the resources which you wanted to use, and is there any API which is being used to solve your application or solve the web services? That's what where you wanted to use for your application. And how do you monitor? You can monitor on your own way by creating of your own dashboard, then setting up the alerting policies for when a particular service which is used to cross the free limit, and even if you go for the payment also, you are going to be informed, like an alert is being shared, like by setting up the amount of the limitation which is being set for the using of the applications, any uptime, any downtime, is there any delay with the uptime, downtime, and so on. All these things can be monitored here. Okay, so you can also see with some kind of the news which is being used here very recently. And is there any nodes which is released recently with respect to any particular service, that is also being shown with the documentation, right? So then activity, what are the different activities which you have done so far, that will be shown here in the present pane, where you can see with the three different menus or dashboard, along with the dashboard activity board, and then some kind of the recommendations where it can be used thereby. So uh, some activities which are being logged in, and then you can see with setting up of these particular things, a log history can be seen thereby. So on which day where I have created what is the purpose of that, and so on, that can be seen thereby. So that is also being supported for the recommendations, if you are being setting for any kind of the applications which are for to be rechecked and so on. Right. So I just go through with the all products which are offered by the Google Cloud platform. I hope are you're able to see, no? Yes, sir. Right. So all products which are now being used. So the first product name is being shown in the GCP is management. In the management, you can see with the three different services, IAM and admin. What is this IAM and admin? If you just click on that, then it will be checking you with the uh, IAM and admin. And these are the left side of the page, which is showing you with what kind of the steps which you need to go with this particular IAM and admin. Is a web service which is offered here. So permissions for the first project, what you wanted to set for this particular project. So who is the name and who is the principal, and what is the role of that particular name of the first project. And if you wanted to set for uh, any security insights, you can set for that particular security insights. So what are the roles which you wanted to give for that particular project also? It can be given here. So you wanted to add any kind of the role, you can give for this particular role here. So therefore, new principal, I'm giving you as something like this. And I can set for the role is a basic or access control or actions, all AI platforms and so on. You can set for the uh, uh, role which you wanted to do with this. So currently used and a basic I wanted to use, and viewer, owner, editor, browser. So what you wanted to use? So I may be going for most of the times creator. So therefore I can go for the owner. So if you wanted to edit for or you wanted to create for somebody else, wanted to edit for that particular application, you create a design part and then somebody else is going to write for something code. So that can be given for the editor code. Likewise, you can set for one particular application there. So viewer, I can view only certainly some conditions. The email address and domain must be associated with the active Google account, the Google Workspace account, or cloud identity. So your email must be given here. That is right. So viewer and save. So updating the policy. Earlier I was being shown with one is called owner who is WordPress server, and now viewer is also WordPress server. Likewise, where you can see with the management, and if you wanted to remove, you can remove from any point of the time by selecting with this, and then you can just press on remove there. So it will ask you to remove the role from that, and from all the roles of this particular resource is going to remove. If you can check with this particular, or else directly you can click on this particular. So it will be it. So what is identity and organization? Okay. So what is it? A policy troubleshooter and etc. can be uh, known about this particular. When I select with the I am in. So next I'll be selecting with the next product, which is billing. You can control and you can manage the billing also, right? And what kind of services which are offered here by this APIs? Right. APIs and services. So for the last 1 hour, there is no traffic, which I have not used any kind of the thing. So that the dashboard is going to be shown here with for the last 1 hour, 6 hours, 12 hours, 1 day, 2 days, 4 days, and so on. It will be given you. For the last 30 days, I have selected because I am not using any kind of the data updation. So therefore, I am not getting any kind of the data traffic updates. So what is the library here? What are the credentials? And how you wanted to make use, you can make use. Okay. So I'll show you with some of the other services onto the right. So next service is compute. Next service is compute. Compute engine. Just now I told you about app engine. So this is compute engine wherein you can create your virtual machine on the cloud. So which you can work for the GPUs or TPUs or even for the storing of data onto the disk and so on. So Kubernetes Engine is very popular nowadays, where you can maintain about or you can manage the containers. Okay, for the large computational values. Okay, for virtual machines, which will be used for the day-to-day applications or small computation point of that. So VMware engine is a type of other engine for supporting here to launch your virtual machine based upon the VMware. Anthos is another type of computing engine which will be provided you to use multiple or multi-cloud platforms. So which will be generally used for the enterprise solutions. Okay, so all these engines are computational engines which can be used for the dynamic scaling. Okay, next category is storage. Next category is storage. So storage you can store with long term, short term on virtual machines or files you can have on your own way to make use of this. So therefore, cloud storage, file storage, data transfer mechanism, and cloud volumes which are there with fully managed native and file storage is there. So you can make a move securely from your local storage to cloud storage at any point of the time. So to have with your network file systems servers. So the servers are being provided to you to take up this particular data if you have any larger applications that is resided with you. Okay. So then next type of category it is operations. You can do with operations on logging, monitoring, error reporting, tracing, profiler, debugger, what not you can do with all the operations. So manage, troubleshoot, monitor, improve the performance of the applications and so on. All these things can be done here by checking with the availability of the hardware and as well as the software. Next category is networking, where you can create your network and manage the connection of the networks, and you can scale your networks. And of course, all these networks which are provided with the secure. So there are secured algorithms which are provided by this for safe networking. So VPC network, the network services, hybrid connectivity, network intelligence, and so on will be provided by that. The other category is big data. You can work for the big data. Basically, we use for the data warehousing, data mining, and analysis, analytics. Then you can make use of the real-time messaging like publishing and submitting of the messages and so on. You can work for even video type of analytics by taking with the data flow. So whether the streaming is properly done or not. Like if you wanted to make use of any Hadoop system, you can say you can make use of the internet servers, and you can have with your own business intelligence with the enterprise solutions, and you can even work for the container datas, and you can even work for the services to the IoT and healthcare, life sciences, and a few of the data sets have been uploaded there by when you make use of this big data. So if you just select about healthcare and it is taking some time to use. So API is to be enabled here. Then overview is being given. Then some kind of the tutorials, the terms and conditions. You need to apply for the terms and conditions. So these are the terms and conditions which are being offered. You need to go through with all these terms and conditions. Then, if you enable, then you are accepting of this particular terms and conditions. And if you are not clear about that, then you can go for the documentation part nearby where we can see that. So additional details which are required here with software as a service with the corresponding APIs, which has been updated with this. So category comes under healthcare, big data, Google Enterprise APIs. So service name healthcare.google APIs. So if you enable, then you can get it the data to be data set can be uh, data set can be enabled if you get enabled here, right? So then you can just take out for the previous type of the categories, thereby where you can say with the databases. In the databases, you can say about the general SQL or big table. Big table means no SQL. SQL means you can work for relational databases. Big table is going to be no SQL databases, right? So file storage, memory storage, spanner, database migration, MongoDB, right? Neo4j, then Redis Enterprise. So these are all from the different partners. Earlier it was not there. So there was only with SQL and big table things are there, and later on where it is being taken up for further to with the other things, MongoDB and Neo4j Aura, and what I can call it as with the Redis Enterprise. These are all with the partners from that. Then one of the service which is offered even by the Google Cloud Platform is a serverless. So you can build the applications powered by serverless functions and containers with App Engine. Just now I told you, no, App Engine is going to be taken with no configuration is to be needed. And moreover, you can work for free of cost for certainly some kind of the limited configuration. Then security is going to be offered with managing of the controls and capabilities with the objectives what you set for the applications. Then CI/CD is going to be integrating of and delivering of the container or registries or containers. I can say that. Okay, so you may just container registry. You can build the delivery platform. You can make your own artifacts, and that can be managed. Then how many number of source repositories which you wanted to maintain in a private or public and so on. So then you can ask them to make use for the deployment of those particular deliveries here. So content delivery, CI and CD is content integration and content delivery. Then application integration, you can say majorly we were using about API gateway thereby. Then started with workflows, and then later on it has been added cloud scheduler, cloud task, and then environment. So you can have even what I can call it as AI tools and AI platforms, where you can use vision. Vision means computer vision. Then tables you can work for the any data table models. Vertex AI is a machine learning platform. AI platform is to be managed with the all Vertex AIs. Then recommendation system is used for the modeling of the recommendation system from the e-commerce platforms and so on. NL is being used for the natural language processing. You can make even custom text models thereby. So likewise, we have many number of services which are offered by the AI category. Then there are different tools which can be used here to manage the activities of your resources which are being used at the cloud platform. So then supporting is there. Likewise, the Google Cloud Platform is being used for majorly this kind of the different categories of this. But if you just compare with the AWS and GCP, AWS is providing with many number of services than what you have in the GCP. So with this, I just stop this, right? And we'll continue for the class for another 5 minutes. Then the next popular is Microsoft Azure, so which is being product from the Microsoft, and you can say that Windows Azure or Microsoft Azure is a cloud service. Again, it is the same. You can talk about the platform as a service and as well as software as a service, and basically it is working for the platform as a service. So if you wanted to make use for the Microsoft Azure, you need to have with the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkit (MAP). MAP is is an agentless and automated multi-product planning and assessment tool for cloud migration, like Capacitive toolkit, which is being used to the Dell EMC. Like we have a toolkit in the Microsoft assessment for migration. So then SharePoint is a big successful web service which is offered from the Microsoft, and it is coming with the Microsoft Office. So you can connect with the any type of the cloud services like Google, AWS, and so on. So basically is not a free tool. So it will work on intranet and as well for internet, and where you can do with your documentation management, etc. That can be done here with this. Then the next is IBM, and IBM is being used to use it for the cloud services for their consumers. Initially, they were started with different servers, and later on, it has been moved to the cloud services, which is mostly offered with the infrastructure as a service. Later on, it's been added with smartly with platform as a service and as well for the software as a service models. Then it can be used for the IVM, basically for virtual area network or local area network, where you can plan for the private cloud with the owned and operated by the customer. The private cloud which is owned by the customer but operated by the IBM. Private cloud owned by IBM and as well for operated by the so for another provider where it can be taken up. So virtual private cloud services, which are being based upon multi-tenant support. Multi-tenancy is a criteria where you can see with the cloud platforms. Multiple customers can be offered or can be shared with the same type of service. So which is also called as multi-tenant. But generally, we used to have it one service with one provider. But here, the service can be tenanted by many number of people. That is called as multi-tenant. So another criteria for offering of the IBM cloud service model is public cloud services, which is generally a provision function to the individual users. Likewise, we have IBM Smart Cloud, where the architecture something like it has been provided. Then you can have SAP Labs. SAP HANA is a good cloud platform for open source actively. So it's a platform as a service basically. SAP HANA is a platform based service. So it's from SAP Labs, SAP Labs, right? Then it is supporting for the enterprise platform, native integration, in-memory persistence, and secure data planning. Moreover, modular containers. So virtualization services, as I told you already, which is the same. And one more good point here it is Salesforce. So that is offered with the Salesforce.com. Is social enterprise software as a service. Okay, so Sales Cloud, it is simply called as, and basically they are using for the CRM applications. Initially, it was being called as ERP application. Now it is being called as a CRM applications. Okay. So Service Cloud is a knowledge as a service, knowledge as a service, which is provided as one of the services. Likewise, you can have with the Rackspace. Once again, part of Rackspace. Earlier, it was being IBM. So, which is initially for majorly using for the servers, Rackspace servers. Then later on, they have also been introduced with the virtual machines on cloud platforms. So Rackspace Cloud is being used for the Linux distributions on the Ubuntu, Debian, Gentoo, CentOS, Fedora, Arc, Red Hat, and so on, even including with the Windows server. So these are all the different services which are offered by cloud platforms. So variety of cloud providers are there. So I told you just now about VMware. VMware is a virtual technological technology. I mean, he is a leader of virtualization provider. Okay, for both the public and private clouds. Even you can install with the VMware player in local machine, and then you can work for the CentOS or Debian OS or whatever you wanted to install, you can install. So it works for open virtualization format, OVF. Microsoft is from the Rajkumar Bhuiya and has created a cloud application or cloud service called Aneka. Aneka platform is basically a platform as a service, and later on it's being used for databases. I mean, the software as a service also being extended. So RDBM has NoSQL and all the other things which are being used. But here, the Aneka platform is providing you a software development kit for applying up to multiple programming applications where you may use for the map reduce algorithms. So this is the architecture for the Aneka platform. So that's all from my side. This is comparison which is offered by the different companies. EMC, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, Salesforce, SAP Labs, VMware, Microsoft, Red Hat, Gigaspaces, and so on. And cloud service providers who are all offering with what kind of service model it is being offered. Okay, right. So you can just make use of these videos. So with this, I finished off even 50 unit because of right. I stop here for sharing of the screen. Any doubts regarding this, you can ask.